Crypto is a trap designed to pull you in, steal your money, and throw you out the other end, significantly poorer than when you got into the market. Whether you think that just because you're early right now and you're going to be really successful because you've chosen the best projects, you're completely wrong. It's nothing to do with that. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what is going on right now that has me very concerned about most of the people entering into the crypto space. Hit the like button. This is going to be a tough one. Now, guys, my day-to-day basis looks something like this. I wake up in the morning, I scan across the crypto news, I look at the charts and see what's going on, what is there exciting to talk about, and today I realize there is nothing exciting to talk about. And this is a big problem. Why is there nothing to talk about? Well, because of this. This is Bitcoin, and ever since the 13th of March, it has been stuck in this range here. So over the last 6 months or so, not much has happened. And then if we focus into the most recent last 6 weeks, you'll see that even less has happened, and it's incredibly boring. Do you feel that? Well, yes, I'm sure you do. And this is problematic because actually the price movements that have been happening in Bitcoin and the crypto market over the last 6 weeks or so haven't been that unexciting. And if you come from a stock trading background where you're chasing 2 or 3% or 10% a year, then you'll find this significantly more volatile than you're used to. Now, because crypto has the ability to do things like this to us, where it rallies insane amounts in just a few weeks or so, we get this expectation that this is what crypto is and what we should be getting in return. And I've talked to you about this before on the program, but it's all down to neuroscience. And if you love an Andrew Huberman podcast, then you'll probably understand a little bit about something called dopamine. Unfortunately, this is a chemical in our brain that is highly addictive, and once we've had a taste of it, we can't really go without it. It's basically behind every addiction out there. It's why people crave having a drink at the end of the day or going and having a cigarette while they're at work and doing something pretty boring. Now, this is why it's such a problem when it comes to cryptocurrency, because when we look at these charts right now, yes, nothing is happening, but imagine we suddenly get a breakout like this, the dopamine floods into our system, we are very happy and excited, because we've invested in Bitcoin and Bitcoin's flown up towards the upside. We then get something like this happen, where Bitcoin goes sideways again for a little bit of time. Now, this is not exactly what I think might happen in Bitcoin, but, you know, it could happen. The problem is that during this period of time, our dopamine levels are insanely high, okay? Because we've sat through this very boring period of time where not much has happened. We now have a huge spike in dopamine, and now we have a craving for that next hit in cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, when Bitcoin starts to move sideways like this, we then start to do something which is probably a bit stupid, because at this point, maybe we've got our plan that we're going to invest in like Hbar or Solana or Quant or whatever it is, and then you realize that those coins are just going sideways for another few months. Well, you're like, now I want to have some more action. So this is when people start to go away from the main kind of crypto space where they should be looking right now, and they start to go towards the likes of Pepe coin. And looking at these charts side by side, the top one being Bitcoin and the bottom one being Pepe, you'll see something very interesting. Now, Pepe spiked towards the upside and had that massive kind of blow off top back around the 1st of May, at which point Bitcoin had basically been going sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So for 6 weeks of sideways action, Bitcoin was going sideways, and guess what everyone did? All of the degens who were craving their little crypto dopamine hits went away and they invested in the likes of Pepe coin. And then look what happened to people who invested in Pepe coin at the top of that spike up there. They currently sit in a position where they are now 84.5% or 85% down. This is a very important lesson for us that maybe no one else will really be talking about or have even thought about. You'll notice that every time the market gets very boring and very sideways like this, we'll start to notice that all of the other kind of like degenerate stuff comes out of the woodwork. All of the kind of, you know, the temptation, as it were. The further you get through your week, if you don't particularly enjoy what you're doing and you're going to work every day, you will probably notice that towards sort of Thursday and Friday, the craving for going out and doing something more fun becomes more intense. You're happy on a Monday or a Tuesday to just sit in and stay at home and watch Netflix or whatever, but maybe by Thursday or Friday, the craving is there to go out and do whatever it is, because you're like, well, you know, I've got this far through the week, I need to go and do something else, and it's the exact same thing. the longer the kind of the sideways action, particularly after doing something very exciting and high dopamine, like sitting in a market where we see pumps in Bitcoin like this, the more danger we sit in. So why is this such an important thing to focus on right now? Well, because as I've said, the market is sat in a very interesting position. It's not really been doing very much, but as we move into Q4, typically Bitcoin and crypto in general has a very bullish Q4. And while lots of people are telling you that the market's going to dump or whatever it's going to do, the sideways action is probably one of the most dangerous times in cryptocurrency because it tends to make us do stupid things. Now, I watched a really interesting video this morning, and it was from Jamie Tree, and it's this video here. October will be an explosive month for crypto from Raoul Pal, and he's sort of looking at all the statistics. That doesn't mean that it's guaranteed, but there's a potential, and he talks about it in this video, for what might come in to play. Basically, in crypto, you need kind of a big kind of injection of cash to come from somewhere, or a big pullout from something else. We are but one news story away from an epic push in one direction or the other. And as we move into a bull market, things are going to get even more ridiculous. And for reasons like this was Solana in the last bull market. You can see these kind of pumps that happened here where in just the space of a few weeks, Solana did an 8x. Hbar at this point in one single week did literally 163%. Veracity in about 4 or 5 weeks did a 23x. And this is all great. But then the problem is we're never happy with that. Okay, so if we sit here right now and I say, well, I've got $1,000 and I invested it carefully and I made 5x in 5 weeks and I now sit here on $5,000, it's never enough. Because once you get to that $5,000, you're like, I must chase more and I want more and I want more. Now, this is why it's so difficult, because all logic goes away. The logic is replaced by our hunger to replace that dopamine. And unfortunately, you just turned yourself into a crypto junkie, which I've talked about before on this channel. And I made a video the other day on an exit plan, which you'll find linked towards the end of this, and I really recommend you watching it because it's going to talk about the importance of setting yourself goals to avoid this happening. I wanted to just bring this to your attention because crypto is incredibly boring right now, and there will be these things hung out in front of you that sound incredibly exciting and juicy, and you want to go and chase them. But be very cautious of pulling your money out of the cryptos that you've hard researched over the summer. All those cryptos you're in maybe right now, the likes of maybe XDC, the Hbars, the XLMs, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the Solanas, these solid crypto projects that you've done your hard research on and you're happy to be invested in. And then when nothing happens for a good 2 or 3 months, you start to pull your money out and you play with something else that's going on, which seems very exciting. Be very cautious when these times are boring of going and being too much of a degenerate, guys. Watch yourself like a hawk, because you never know. Tomorrow some news piece drops and it sends Bitcoin up to 40k, but you're pretty upset because you lost all your money gambling on a frog coin, thinking that that was the next best thing. And if you want to go and find out something new because you just can't help yourself, we're actually due to have a launch coming up quite soon for Grape, who have sponsored this channel. Link down below in the description where you can come and find out more. Grape is a first Web3 infrastructure for a decentralized internet running on a direct acyclic graph, similar to the way that Casper and Hbar and others work, allowing it to run transactions up towards 700,000 transactions per second. The ecosystem is built on something called Vine, and it can also then implement AI through something called AM. They're going to be offering these services such as biometric authentication, smart contracts, DCS, Marketpad, Launchpad, and much, much more, which is extremely ambitious. This being a new launch project could have the potential to deliver something crazy in the future based on that roadmap. Now, obviously, you need to come across it and do your own research. There is tons of information available here. But if they can go and pull off some of the things that they're talking about here and really start to drive into the world of GameFi and the metaverse, which they've been talking about heavily, then you're going to see something crazy happen in the price of Grape, in my opinion. But obviously, guys, don't just buy on my word. Go across through the link down below in the description, do your own research, and if you want to invest, then use that link and you'll get 10% additional tokens. And they've started to implement this part where they've been working with e-government, ministries, registries, documents, and database, and this is very important because it's starting to then compete with other blockchains out there. Here you can see they compare themselves against Cardano, Going down, they talk about banking, where they compare themselves with XRP. Into the supply chain, they then go and compare themselves with VeChain. And you can see that each time they're basically being able to outperform all of these different areas of the market if they can go and pull off their roadmap and what they're talking about. It's extremely ambitious, and in my opinion, that makes it a very interesting project to be going and getting a bit of dopamine from. So go and check it out, guys. Make sure as well you get into the free Telegram link down below in the description, where you can ask more questions about anything I'm talking about right now. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.